So, really, I tell you what, today was a good day for us, and I say that because these are the days, types of days that really test you, uh, coaches and players. Tuesdays and Wednesdays are really hard days. We call them Bloody Tuesday, Bloody Wednesday, where we really get after it. We got the pads on, and everyone, coaches and players, are trying to find ways to get better, to improve, individually and then collectively as a team. And it's not easy to do. Sometimes it's very difficult to find that improvement because it really comes down to fine details, the inches that you need when you're competing at a high level. Success is measured in inches, and we see it, week in and week out in college football and pro football. It comes down to one play here or there, and it's execution. And so I felt like there was a sense of urgency in the meeting room this morning and on the field from our coaches and our players. And I told them this, this morning, this can't be just another Tuesday. Even though we work really hard, we work hard in the past. We know that, but it can't. It's got to be more than that. And so that was the demand. And so I felt that on the field today. Now, I haven't had time to look at the practice tape yet. I'm going to look at it when I get done here with you all. But just coming off the field, I felt like the sense of urgency was there to get better, and I felt like we did get better in some areas. And so I'm really looking forward to making the corrections from this practice and getting ready to go again tomorrow morning. Anybody have anything for me? Okay.
Hey, Mel, have you had a one-on-one or spoken with Steven since Saturday's game? And if so, can you share maybe what you talked to him about?
Yeah, I haven't had a one-on-one per se. I have spoken to him, but I don't think it was not newsworthy or anything of note.
Coach, seemed like a tough day for the offensive line the other day. How concerning is that this week as you prepare for probably the toughest defense you've seen so far in the young season?
It was we had tough moments for the entire squad. I mean, whether it's O-line, D-line, but I don't see anything that where I'm overly alarmed. It's really if it were things that weren't correctable, where I felt like we were stuck and it wasn't going to be we weren't going to be able to fix it, or we weren't going to be able to get any better, and it was just going to be like that, throughout the season, then I would be alarmed. But I don't feel that way.
Coach, how well, if at all, do you know Herm Edwards?
I know Coach Edwards. Yeah, I know.
What's the past?
Yeah, he's been really good to me over the years, and he's been very supportive. He's a role model, so to speak, for me. I actually know Coach Lewis better because I was at Ohio State. I got to Ohio State in 2001, and he was, and then he came to the Bengals, and then so I got a chance to spend time. Columbus and Cincinnati aren't that far apart, and so I was able to spend time with him over the years. And then once I got to the NFL in 2005, we were in the same division, and so I would see him quite a bit. I would see him at the combine. I would see him at the Senior Bowl, but those two guys, they looked out for me.
Coach, what was unusual from the first two games was against Air Force was the procedure penalties that you hadn't had before, and How do you address that? What was that accountable to?
Yeah, we had them. We didn't have them in the first game, but we had them in the second game, and so it's been, it's been a point of emphasis for us. And so, like I said, and it might have been yesterday, we talked about we have some things that we think are going to help us to eliminate those types of penalties, whether it's a procedure or whether it's a misalignment or miscommunication on defense or whatever. Those are self-inflicted wounds, death by inches, paper cuts, so to speak, that they all add up to making it hard to be successful against really good teams, right? So, we're addressing those. I don't really want to get into the specifics because it could go into a little bit of game planning and scheme and things like that. And like I talked about, when I initially started speaking today, when you, like yesterday's practice and then today's practice, which is a long practice and very physical, really getting after it, very, very intense, we're addressing those issues, on days like this, and making sure that we can get those things fixed. And it's when you see a lack of execution, it's really, if you see a mistake on a play, it's either mental, it's physical, or it's structural. So every play is evaluated that way. So does the player, is he capable of doing it mentally, or is it a lack of focus, or does he not understand? Do we have to do a better job teaching it? Or is it a physical limitation, where he just can't hold up, can't win the one-on-one, not quick enough, not strong enough, not fast enough, whatever that is. Or is it something structural with the scheme, where maybe we could put him in a better position to help him? And so we evaluate every play like that. And then sometimes you make personnel changes, right? Sometimes you make scheme changes. Sometimes you have to do a better job teaching, or you have to approach it a different way. Delivery of information is very important. Everyone learns in different ways. And so as we learn more about our football team in game situations, we're getting more information on our guys as we go, and that helps us preparing for the next opportunity.
I just want to ask one more. Players have been talking about going faster, and what I was noticing in the game is the ref you guys will be all lined up, the team will be lined up, and the clock's going, and the ref won't let the play commence. What is he waiting for, and why? Because you're all ready, and I don't know what rule that is. What's going on there?
Okay, so the rule is, basically, if we substitute on offense, then the defense has an opportunity to substitute, and the officials will hold the ball and allow the defense time to sub within a reasonable amount of time. I think it's like 3 seconds. They get a chance to send someone out. Okay, if we don't sub, they'll just spot the ball and let us go, unless on the previous play, our player, one of our guys, goes out of bounds on our bench area, towards our bench area. He doesn't have to go all the way back to the bench, but he's off on our sideline. If that happens, even though we haven't subbed, they're going to hold the ball. They're going to hold play, because they can't tell if we're subbing or not, because guys are coming from our sideline, and the other team can't tell. That's the rule, and that's why that happened.
It seemed to take a long time on Saturday.
It is what it is. Yeah, it is what it is. I'm trying to get them to go faster, but it's the rule. So, it's really like, I can only say so much, and then it's like, let's get back to work, right?
You've expressed a desire to run the ball on your terms, and those last 2 scoring drives you had the other day, I think you ran for about 60 yards. What was the difference in those 2 drives and maybe the first, or those in the middle of the game where you had trouble running the ball?
Right. As you go through the game, you're evaluating you're trying to correct things, you're making adjustments, and it goes back and forth, right? And so we're able to get some things fixed, able to find some things that work, and then come off the ball and run the ball a little bit and get those yards. And so they're physical on defense, we're physical on offense, and it gets like that. And so and in some cases, just maybe the time of the game has something to do with it. It's the fourth quarter and it's getting late, and you're trying to exert your will on them, and they're trying to push on you, and so it goes like that. So I think that's what you saw.
We've talked a lot about your effort to try to start hotter.
Yep.
Does that become easier as you progress through the season, just because you get to see more film on the other teams and know what they're trying to do, and it's less about the adjustments?
No, I'm not sure if if it ever becomes easier. It's just what's required, and I mean they're playing, they're coaching and playing, and we're coaching and playing, and so we have to make sure that we're executing our schemes, to the letter, offensively and defensively, because obviously we're not out there on air. They're up against it trying to stop us or trying to move the ball on us. So, but starting fast was a point of emphasis last week. And even though we got a drive and we scored, it didn't feel like it was sharp. So sometimes even though the end result is a touchdown, it still is not what it needs to be. And even sometimes when you win a game, it's not what you want it to be. Like I said before, like after the Colorado State game, winning is not always enough, right? It's not. The end doesn't always justify the means, right? So we have to be realistic. We're a very realistic coaching staff in terms of, okay, this is what happened, but this is really what we need to do better, and starting fast on both sides of the ball is critically important, especially when you're on the road. And so, not to go into detail, but there's nothing I would like better than come out on offense and start really fast, start fast on defense, 3-and-out takeaway. That's that's the goal. And so, like I said, today, a sense of urgency to get those things done, and it's just an ongoing thing. And it's like I told the players today, I said, hey, it's hard, but it's fair, because that's what it's all about. And this is not for everybody, but we're gonna get it. We're gonna find a way to get it done, and we're gonna get it done out here on the practice field. We're gonna get it done in the meeting room, and everybody's gonna be in on the deal. And so, it's a constant push. It's like you're heating up that steel, you're heating up that iron, and you're just hammering it till you get it the way you want it, and you keep hammering it, you keep hammering, you keep hammering it. The thing about this deal, though, is it never ends. There's no finality to it. It just keeps going on to the next season. It's perpetual motion. It never stops. So that's why I love it.
You talked about having to make structural changes. In the case in the secondary, you have to make some changes that are out of your control.
Excuse me, I didn't hear the last part. I'm sorry.
Can you talk about the shuffling in the secondary now with Aaron still looks like 4 or 5 weeks? Some of the changes you talked about structural changes, stuff you have to make to adjust to that on a coaching end.
Yeah, it's just next man up. I talk about all the time with our players. We need everyone. We coach everyone. We coach our walk-ons. We coach everyone on every play, every day, all the time. And so, because football, unfortunately, is a game of injuries. That's the nature of the game. Guys get banged up, and the next guy has to step up. And so, it's actually normal, And so, you know, whether it's Rake or it's Sam or it's Isaiah Lewis, it's next man up. And if you're in the game, you're a starter. And then we just keep on stepping.
What is the beginning of conference play? What kind of impact does that have on your team and your experience as a coach? Does it sharpen focus, heighten awareness, or does it have no impact at all?
I mean, it shouldn't. I mean, every game is important. It shouldn't be a difference in how you approach, like, your preparation. I mean, if there's a huge difference in preparation for game to game, that means you're not doing. It's just your program's not functioning properly, in my opinion. You know, but you know, in order to really, if you really want to do something, you got to win your conference, right? You got to win your division. You got to win your conference if you want to, you know, make a significant impact. And so, obviously, conference games are very important.
Coach, it's unusual to have 2 back-to-back overtime games. With that, what did you learn about overtime and the differences between the 2 games that helps you maybe with a 2-minute offense, or what do you learn from that?
From overtime, I mean, whether it's the first quarter or overtime, you execute, you have success. You don't execute, when you're playing good teams, you're not gonna have success. And so, but I know we can play 4 quarters. I know that about this team, and I know we can play overtime. And there's no lack of ability to strain and finish, like physically. There's no lack of stamina. You know, I feel like we can go as long as we need to go. That's not going to be an issue. It's going to be about the execution and you know, consistency. And I may be able to come up with a different way to say it by later on in the week or next week. I'm going to see if I can give you something a little different. I really am, but but that's what it is, you know. And then how you go about doing that is really, you know, the art of coaching and teaching. You know, it's how do you move the needle, right? How do you capture someone's mind and get them better, you know, on a day-to-day basis? And so I really love to coach. I have a passion for coaching because coaching is teaching.
Coach, I'm looking at the forecast Saturday night in Tempe. It's approaching 100 degrees, and I know it's a night game, but it stays hot there. How do you deal with that?
How do I deal with the heat?
How do you tell
Like
your team
me
to do-
personally?
No, your team. What
For
do
the team?
Do you coach them differently? Do you prepare them differently?
No, we make sure we're well hydrated.
Yeah.
That's important. And we talked about you can't wait until the morning of the game to start to hydrate. You can't even wait till the day before. So you know, we have to make sure we emphasize hydration, and then the way we practice is important. The tempo at which we practice, you know, how we run to the ball, how we finish, our GPS numbers. We monitor our GPS numbers, that type of thing, you know. And then, you know, there's some little detailed things. Maybe if you walk through at the hotel, normally maybe if you go outside, maybe you don't go inside, maybe you stay in and do it indoors. You know, just little things like that. But I mean, it's an all-weather football team, in my opinion. That's what you have to be. And so heat or rain or snow or whatever, I mean, it shouldn't matter. I mean, everyone's going to be in the same temperature.
Anything else for Coach? All right, thank you.
All righty. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.